Hey everyone, I'm meteorologist Mark McLean. Time for another Ask the Expert session here this week. With us, I have Valeria. She is the CEO of Open Door Mission, and joining us with a topic that I think for this time of the year seems to really spring up for you guys. It's a topic that you're focusing on homelessness, right?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me, Mark.
yeah, it's great. It's great to have you down. So we're seeing an increased need, right? Is that what we're seeing at this time?
Absolutely. It seems like we see an increase every year, but this year it's actually been even more than I've ever seen this. And I've been doing this work for almost 20 years.
Oh wow, oh wow. So is there anything that's really that has changed, that has increased the need in the Rochester community?
Yeah, there's multiple factors. We have everything from a lack of access to affordable housing to really what we see is the primary reason for the need for emergency housing placements is the breakdown of a primary family relationship, and then everything in between. So untreated mental illness, addiction, loss of employment, and a lot of other things in between there as well.
Yeah, and just to expand on that a little, and sadly, this is the kind of thing that can happen to anybody, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of folks who we say they're one argument with a family member or even one paycheck away from homelessness.
yeah, and that's where you guys jump in. So I guess you said 20 years. That's congratulations on that. That's excellent. What inspired you to pursue the career and what you're doing?
20 years ago almost to the day, I lost my father
Oh,
unexpectedly, and he
sorry.
was a pastor, and he was really just a profound influence in my life when it came to looking out for other people and meeting people where they are. And in while I was grieving his loss, we learned he was struggling with some things, and he was as a pastor, he really didn't seem to have a lot of people he could talk to.
Uh-huh.
And so as I was kind of thinking, well, geez, how can I process this? I realized, well, people who are homeless don't really have anyone to talk to either. And so I just started doing the work on my own. I would go under the back when the aqueduct was
Oh
accessible,
yeah.
and bridges and local places where I could just go find people. And I would just sit and talk with them and hear their story. And that's how I kind of fell in love with the population.
Wow, wow. That's sorry about your father, but that pushed you to a place
Yeah.
here where you're really helping a lot of people in the community. How about projects or recent achievements? I know we have on our billboard here behind us, Grateful Hearts Open Doors campaign. Maybe you want to speak to that just a little bit.
Yeah, so we've been around for almost 75 years. Open Door started with a Thanksgiving meal in 1952,
Is
and
that right?
so yeah,
Wow.
it's been a long time, and we have since then grown quite a lot. When I first came to Open Door, we were operating out of 2 facilities. We're now operating out of 6, and we decided that we would take a little time just to pause and reflect on that, and
Okay.
just to say thank you to the community, whether it's leaders who have come before me or board members, donors, volunteers, supporters, staff members, program graduates, all the whole community
Yeah.
of people who have been part of our journey, and just to kind of pause and reflect on that and acknowledge them. Yeah.
That's amazing. And you say you go from 2 to 6, and I mean, that takes a lot of resources, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it does. Yeah, and we really are truly a community resource because we are primarily supported by private donations through businesses, churches, and individuals. So we have some grants as well, but we are primarily funded privately. So it really has taken the community to get us this far.
Wow, and from a news background, we see the stories. Obviously, they come through, and Rochester just seems to be a charitable place.
It's
Compared to
yeah.
other places. Is that you're experiencing now?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
20 years in here.
They're so generous. I mean, it's a good problem to have when
Yeah.
we have so many food donations that come to us. This is just an example. We have so many food donations that come to us that we partner with around 15 other smaller food pantries and church neighborhood pantries that
Wow.
we can provide food for because of the overabundance that we get sometimes.
So
So
you push out into the community.
we do.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Wow. I guess that would be the big contribution out into the community.
Mhm.
Um, Any advice for, the folks that are watching us on YouTube? This is the Ask the Expert segment. They've got you here.
Yeah.
Anything that any bits of advice or anything you'd like to say to somebody out there that maybe has the charitable heart and just hasn't gotten started yet, or just needs that little extra shove? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think one of the things that I like to remind people of is that homelessness may be not very visible in our
Okay.
area, but it is very, very real. We fortunately, because we're in a position where we have such a generous community, we have some resources out there. It and because of our climate, it's not really visible. You're not seeing people lining the
Yeah.
streets. yet.
Yeah.
um, but that doesn't mean that the problem is not really, really growing and a problem. We have, for example, the family homelessness issue is on the rise. That was just documented in our most recent point in time count that we do every year. And we are seeing that as an organization as well. We are operating almost an extra facility as
Wow.
we place families in hotels because we're getting calls for families with adult children, adult children who are disabled, intact families. There are just not resources out there for them, and so that's because that's a growing need. And so we're trying to find ways to be able to connect with that need, but the problem is not going away. So back to the advice part.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry,
no, it's
like,
okay.
I could go on.
That's the best part about being on
Right.
YouTube. We don't have to worry about
Yeah.
this
We don't have to
linear
commit.
format where
Right.
we're running into breaks and stuff. So yeah,
Right.
please continue.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think, when we think about that and understanding the diversity of the need,
yeah.
it ranges from everything from families will call because they just need help with their RG&E bill being paid. We've had requests for a car insurance bill to be paid so
Okay.
they can get to work, so that,
Wow.
and obviously like back rent, security deposits, but also, when you see maybe your schools or your businesses or your churches doing a food drive or a clothing drive, those are critical. We
Yeah.
rely on those. Now, the food. If we've got too much, we give it away.
Wow.
So that it goes to a good place. We put everything we can to use. We have a wonderful clothing room. It's set up like a boutique where families can come and shop. It's lovely, and the women
Yeah.
there do such a great job. And so I think participating in those every single bit
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, I'm curious about this. We've had a lot of price inflation lately. It just seems like everything has kind of exploded
Mhm.
since 2020 in cost. Has that factored into anything that we're talking about here?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, the cost for everything, whether it's for us or for the people that we
yeah,
serve, even, wages are higher,
yeah.
and people who are coming in, we're seeing people who are asking for help who've never had to call for help before
Wow.
because they just need, can I just get an emergency food box just to last me for the week because I can't afford the groceries again this week. And I've got, so the cost is affecting all of us. And so again, that's why every little bit helps when you're participating in those kinds of collection events.
Well, Annie, you and the organization are so charitable, and the community just loves your presence. Is there any last thing that you'd like to add in here
Mhm.
before we wrap things up?
Well, one thing I did want to mention because we're very excited about this. So last year we opened 20 new shelter beds for women. We call
Wow.
it the Selah House
Okay.
at our 156 North Plymouth location. And this year we're actually adding 32 beds to
Wow.
that program. So we were really concerned coming into the winter
Hmm.
without any opportunity for what we would love to see, a new facility for our shelter, but that's difficult to come by, especially downtown.
Yeah.
So but we were able to repurpose existing space at 156 North Plymouth. So in 2 weeks, of the Monday before Thanksgiving, we'll be opening 34 new beds for women,
Well,
and we're very excited about that.
that's excellent, excellent. Well, Anna, thanks for coming down, talking to everybody here.
Mhm.
Lots of interesting feedback and information for the community. And if you'd like to be a part of this, you can ask the expert. I'm meteorologist Mark McLean. We'll see you next time.